continent, until women do not make themselves empowered, they could not compete, they could not fight, and they could not make their place or make a space for themselves to breathe, to express, to contribute. So for that, it's very much important that women should really empower themselves, learn and work hard, double that demand, especially a country like Afghanistan. Otherwise, it will be easily rejected or ignored by men, which mostly are the decision maker at home, at community level, or in a government or political structure level. So empowerment, women empowerment is very much important. Which one is the first step? Education. Primary education, secondary education, higher education. More work, more experience, and more skill to learn. And of course, this is the duty of the government. This is the duty of the family and the parents, and the duty of those countries who are interested to support Afghanistan to provide such an opportunity for girls to learn more. Until we do not educate our girls and our women, things will not change and we cannot progress. That's why we are much behind the other countries. According to the Constitution, budget could be only approved or disapproved by Parliament, but you cannot bring any amendment. But generally we can pressurize or say the government to invest more. But the good excuse for the government, we have no fund. Because we still, Afghanistan is rely on outsider revenue or support, and our internal revenue is not sufficient to plan according to what we want. And secondly, the security, which the huge amount of money goes to security sector rather than should be invest on education, especially on girls' education, and definitely girls are not the priority. From outside, and presence of warlords and some of these extremists, or maybe just extremists for how to benefit themselves, not for the real Islam, is always an obstacle and challenge. I just mentioned, we wonder, even the president was willing to give the governor position of Kabul, or even the director of independent director of local governance he was willing to give this position to a woman. But because one of those jihadi leader, he grabbed that position for his own son. So I think everything is challenge for Afghan women, whether it's the people who exist within the system, or influence the presidential office, or those who is living in cross-border and fighting and struggling to get power. Women in this country is always at risk from different angles and from different positions. I think we're always paying very high price for our struggle. Personally. First time when I went to run, none of my family members even supported me. And even my elder brother were very much upset because I belong to the part of a country which is very more traditional and very men is everybody but not a woman. Even a woman cannot represent. And he was not very much happy about my candidacy. My husband, which also living with another woman, he was also telling my kids that your mother is going to put you all at life at risk because she loves power and now your life is at risk. So it confused my kids, even they were so small. And this time, second time I ran for parliament, and one of the excuse who take my kids out of the country and tell my kids, well, because the security is so much worse than their mother is involved in the politics of the country. Maybe she will be attacked or the house will be attacked. I don't want to lose my kids. So even my kids were taken without my permission out of the country.
Where are they?
While I was in the middle of the campaign to compete, men who are like competing in the region which I want to take a vote. And now they are living in Dubai. So it's not very much easy to fight in a country like Afghanistan. Sometimes you're losing the closest person of your life. So
it's really hard.
Very much hard.
Yeah.
Very much hard, because as I mentioned, we have no political party to help us. You have to fight as an individual. And this time I was lucky that at least I got support from my brother. Yeah. And he started to believe. His mentality was changed. And he found that the way I played the role was absolutely different from the men who played. And this time, which I got most of my vote from the rural area, from the very backward, from the villages, from the traditional men. Yeah. Lots of warlords were competing me. Lots of businessmen who were like willing to pay the price of vote, but still, I won, they lost. So it means there is some sort of change came. Even the traditional men voting a woman, but not a man whose rate was a power, because I struggle a lot and I sacrifice, and I do not compromise on my personal benefit generally for the roles of women. Yeah. I thought that I'm a role model for other women in a village. Yeah. I have to be clean, honest, more dedicated, and work hard, double than a man.
And now I just have to ask you, so what do you think it was that changed your brother's mind and that changed the people of the village's mind?
When the people talk about me, when they say she's a good woman, she's not selling anybody or like herself or the country or dignity or everything, because for him it's very much important to see the good comments or like a reaction came from the community. And everybody was talking differently, because when everybody was asking if all these politicians run from this area, who will win? Everybody will say, Miss Karokhail will win. Because everybody was saying that if nobody bribe, if the people get not bribe, for sure this woman will win. And these things really affect general feeling of people about me. That everybody said, oh, she's winning, she's winning, she's winning. So, and especially the educated boys and the people who was a teacher working in the area, they support me, say that, well, she's the person who could bring change in this area. But if you vote the other, they're powerful, they will always squeeze us, they will pressurize us, and they will always pretend they're more powerful. We have to respect them, but we cannot approach them or have access to them. So the general feeling changes towards me and role of woman. And also the way I played the role make my brother mentality to change, and also feel, well, she could save and secure this area, not to create a problem. And I start to get his trust on my role. So finally his thought said that I have to help him. So it was good, but on the other hand, what happened to my kids and